Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is markets in the morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is a Friday, November 3rd, 2023. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, which I have up here in front of us right now. Of course, we'll take a look over there at the stock market. We'll take a look at the altcoin market. We'll take a look at XRP. We'll take a look at gold, maybe silver, but we'll look at the US dollar currency index and any type of financial news and any type of crypto news as we get ready for the stock market to open up in 4 minutes. We actually do have quite an interesting morning ahead of us. So, of course, everybody's probably been paying attention to crypto, but we're going to have an interesting opening happen here when the United States stock market opens. Because we just got some economic data that just came out, and we're seeing the US dollar currency index start to tumble down in here. We're actually seeing long duration yields take big spills. The 10-year yields all the way back down to 4.51%. These long duration yields have been taking a big tumble today with some economic data in regards to employment. Or unemployment, I guess we could say. And, Bitcoin, obviously, it's been shuffling its way back down here overnight, and now has caught a little bit of support down in here and holding. This is kind of what the expectation was if we were in something like this, that, any type of new high is not a breakout. This is still just a long range that is happening in here. So as long as we're still holding above, 33,500, it's just kind of a washing machine happening in here until it can finally get its way out. But let's see, how do we want to start today? So much going on. You got the DXY falling so hard. You have the stock market ripping, right? So we're going to see the stock market open up really high. So the stock market's going to Dow Jones up 209 points in pre-market, which is 0.61%. The S&P is up 26 points, which is 0.6%. And the NASDAQ is up 54 points, which is 0.36%. This is coming off of yesterday's monster rally where the Dow was up 564 points. The NASDAQ was up 254 points, and the S&P was up 80 points. So each index was up about 1.75% yesterday. Today, they were sitting kind of rough this morning, and then we got the economic data to come out this morning, and then everything started rallying, and then the US dollar currency index started plunging. But you have to kind of wonder yourself, is there a little bit of trickery in this of what's happening right in here when it comes to these rallies that are happening because they happened on actual weakness economic data. They didn't happen on like strength in anything. We had the highest reading in unemployment that we've had since February of 2022. We came in at 3.9%. Labor participation dropped from 62.8% down to 62.7%. And typically the last shoe to drop in any type of recession or anything like that is whenever we start to actually see unemployment start to rise. So, of course, what does it mean if these things are starting to happen? Well, then, of course, it signals to everybody that, hey, the Fed's probably going to be done, right? And that they're not going to be continuing to raise. We see all these yields fall. We had the Fed meeting this week. They did another pause this week. It seemed pretty straightforward in there that they're not going into with an agenda anymore of being like, we have to keep raising, we have to keep fighting inflation. That lingo, that language was just kind of completely done. They've paused 3 out of the last 4 meetings that they've done, and now we're getting finally the employment data is starting to represent going the wrong way of what you'd want to see for a growing economy. And so with that, of course, we're seeing these yields fall. I mean, the 5-year yield's down 0.173 today, right? And then so now here we go. We're going to have the markets open here right now. It's her ding. Welcome to market opening. Excuse me. I'm also getting over a cold. But you can see mostly green over here in the market to kick the day off. Coinbase, prior to this unemployment data coming out, Coinbase was down over 4%. Coinbase bounced on the unemployment data, as did everything else. Your leaders this morning currently, as the market opens up immediately, is ARK, Tesla, and Ford. Losers so far, Apple coming off of their earnings yesterday after the markets closed. Coinbase had their earnings after the markets closed. And then you got Roblox down there too. We've had volatility like crazy over here in metals this morning, even with this data. So let's look again at the DXY, right? DXY, it's back below 106. We know that 106 level has historically been a marker of big worry, or a marker of everything is fun and exciting. And here we go. We go right back through 106 again now, 105.28 to kick off the morning. We saw gold fire up right when everything else fired up. Even when stocks fired up, gold shot up there and got above $2,000 again. Now pulled it all back. Silver had a decent sized rip this morning too. It's now taking it all back this morning. So silver got up to 23.24, now back to 22.96. We're talking a swing of over a quarter. 25 cents in an ounce of silver happening within minutes here in both directions. So very interesting morning. Let me see if I can find any other of this economic data, because there was stuff on Twitter. People had like put it together pretty nicely. And Peter Schiff writes, the October jobs report confirms a weak labor market. The unemployment rose to 3.9%, and the labor force participation fell to just 62.7%. 62.7%. Yeah, so we're watching the labor force shrink, and we're watching the unemployment rate grow. So those are likely not good good things for an economy. But of course, market's going to rip on the narrative that the Fed is done. We've gone through it many, many times in regards to we pull it up again here. We pulled it up many times of what happens when the Federal Reserve seems, no, we don't. Do we want it like that? Is that how we do it? There we go. When the Fed does pause, right? And we get kind of mixed results during pause periods, right? We can rally, and then the cuts start, and then you can still have one last rally into a cut. But you right. So here's what you're seeing, right? So everybody said when the Fed starts cutting, that's when it's time to be bullish. And I think people have finally started to wake up to that. That's not entirely accurate. Even in here, right? They start cutting, and it does have one more rally. But typically, anytime those cuts are coming, it indicates that there's some type of turmoil going on behind the doors, right? Underneath the hood, there's some type of turmoil going on that they're trying to stop and fix. And the second the Fed does start cutting, it just becomes a game of hot potato after that point. So it's kind of a weird feeling this morning. We're seeing these things happening here in the markets, and you're seeing the market rally on the idea that, oh, good, unemployment is ticking up. We have every other metric pretty much pointing to a recession coming for the United States. And the last shoe to drop has been unemployment. That's the last thing that's missing in there. And so this is the highest reading since February of 2022. It's not an astronomical reading, right? 3.9% isn't anything to be like, oh my gosh, we're in Doomtown. But to give you a little bit of a view, I can do it like this and just throw it on the screen so you can see it easier. Right. We're at 3.9%. And as you can see, we haven't been that high since the reading that took place back there in February of 2022. So we go down and have really low unemployment. They're like, hey, we're raising rates. Nothing's really happening. Then we start kind of ticking up these last couple of times, 3.8, 3.8, not 3.9, right? So we're starting to, the trend has changed. Just drifting down and down and down is done. And now you're starting to drift up and having the higher readings happening, right? And let's see what TXMC said, because he had something to say about it too. I'm going to quote him and give him credit, of course. He says it's not just the unemployment rate. He says it's the hours worked are going down, the average earnings, temporary workers, cyclical sector, unemployment. All of those are flashing red. Credit has been completely arrested, and so labor is all that is left. So there's a deterioration of hours worked across a bunch of industry and the slowdown of average earnings. So this is all signaling what? Rates must come down. So market rally on rates must come down. Weird dynamic, right? It would be a nice dynamic if we were like, hey, things are so good. Let's rock and roll. Markets to the upside. But it has to be like this weird dynamic we are in the inflationary era with the Fed and everything, where it's like good data is bad data is good. But then where's that mix in between the two? So anyway, the kind of a weird morning. Nice to see markets green. Who doesn't like seeing green over there? And Bitcoin's found some support, and we're starting to see some green show up over here in the crypto market, with XRP even back at about 61 cents right now. Stellar Limit's kind of leading over there at 12.29 cents. But that data is interesting to pay attention to. It looks like, did silver bounce back up again? Look at the volatility in this thing. It's a lot of volatility in silver. It's not usually that erratic. Okay, there you go. So, all right. I don't know. That was kind of the weird thing to talk about this morning, was the unemployment data and the immediate market reaction that happened in there to get actual poor data coming out, and for the markets to really rally on that poor data. Look, there goes gold again. Wild morning. This is all volatility due to poor employment data, guys. It was bad data, and the market is rallying on it. But boy, what a difference from what we had last week, right? Like the Dow Jones Industrial Average just rallied all week compared to last week's just pummeling, right? This week has been just a monster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, even with gaps over here in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, open to close, full bars. Absolutely amazing week over here in the stock market to go rallying back up to its previous resistance level. But okay, there you go. Weird day. But those yields are falling very hard. Let's go back to that one more time. These are big numbers, guys. For the 5-year yield, down 0.187, down to 4.45. Remember the 10-year? Remember these yields? These were like above 5, like at 5% and above, just like a week or two ago. These are falling rapidly. What is the 30-year mortgage? When the 30-year mortgage updates today, it will have fallen. So remember, just like a week or two ago, we're talking about 30-year mortgages being above 8%. Look at this. So this doesn't include today. Right? This has just been here in like this last week, and with these updated figures right in here. And that 10-year down 0.15 today, that'll knock down that 30-year mortgage even more. So that right now at like 7.6% approximately, somewhere in that area. But there was above 8. I get it. 7.6 is still ridiculously high. And again, if you're like, I bought my house in 1982 and I had a 19% interest rate. It's like, yeah, but your house was also $14,000 at that time. They're not like that now. They're very expensive, and those interest rates are very high for the cost of the actual house. So we'll see mortgage rates come down even more now after that for sure. Crazy. All right, how do we get back on pace after such a weird morning to start out? Let's see if we can do it, because we're 13 minutes in. We're just rambling like crazy now, based on some crazy data that came out today, shooting the markets around. All right, Bitcoin, right? So 2 days ago, all right, so we're in the Fed meeting. We're like, hey, if it pops up, we'll do the frogs and everything, but have the expectation, these are just higher highs, not breakouts. Looking for higher highs, higher lows. Yesterday and overnight, obviously pulled back down into there. So like the thing I'm going to be cheering for throughout the weekend. Totally boring Bitcoin throughout the weekend. Just continue grinding to the sides, not looking for drama queen Bitcoin. As we know, if we were still continuing 2016 or behaving something like that, drama queen Bitcoin, which would have a big plunge back down to support levels. If we do continue following 2016, which we have until this point, that's still spent another 7 months ranging in here before it eventually stepped up to a new range. So this thing, I believe November 2nd was the date, or I guess we're on it right now, November 3rd, right? Timing aligns for the next few days for that to be our case. Let's not cheer for that. Let's cheer for completely boring Bitcoin. That would be the most ideal thing. Of course, the biggest thing we've talked about a whole lot in all of this has been in order for even either one of these things to remain valid or discussion worthy is just the behavior of Bitcoin, right? Maintaining those previous resistance levels as a support. It's fine to come down and slam into them. It's fine to wick through them. You can see these wicks that go through them a little bit, but eventually that support does hold and we continue. We aren't accepting prices back down in here and chilling in here, which was a reason why I was so combative with the ideas of 23K, 20K, 16K, 12K. To accept those prices down here would have lost our support levels. Those would have been dips back down below. That's not how recoveries for Bitcoin work. We don't go in dip into there and hang out and chill at lower prices. We always build supports on top of previous resistances, and we'll back test them and then shift up, right? Back test, shift, back test, shift. Back test, go, back test, go, back test, go. But in the event, we've talked about this, we're cheering for this guy, okay, if that happens, that's what happens, but cheering for this one, at least I am, let's get some money in our pockets, right? But if we start falling back down into here, into 28s, right? 28s and especially 27s, and we just start hanging out here and accepting prices and closing weeks down in here, we've lost trend. We've lost growth. We've lost strength, and we'll have to address that there, and that's always possible. So the line in the sand to really be like, hey, something is not right here for Bitcoin is, again, if we go take out that range we just spent 7 months in. If we were in it for 7 months, if we go fall back down into it, it's going to start really struggling with anything like this. And then it really starts painting a different picture here, even from 2016. So in the event that we do go back in there, which, I don't see any evidence that we are yet at all. If anything, this is still the dominant player, which is the exciting one. We're just kind of cheering to not get this guy. But if something dramatic did happen in the market, and if we fell back in here, that's where we'd have to start discussing, okay, things have started deteriorating. And of course, my thoughts would be that'd be something to do with the stock market happening in there at the exact same time. But the thing is freaking rallying. It's rallying on people being unemployed. So let's go, man. I'll take it. The stock market's the mandatory thing for me to be excited about anything substantial coming for Bitcoin. And there you go. You're getting a rally happening in there. DXY still continuing to fall even more, now down to 105.19, as likely the market is just totally convinced with this bad economic data that the Fed is done. And so we're seeing yields fall big time. Dow Jones up 174 points, 0.51%. The NASDAQ up 92 points, 0.62%. And the S&P up 34 points, which is 0.79%. So a killer day to start the markets out over here on Wall Street, as unemployment is the highest it's been in almost 2 years. So, okay. There we go. Bitcoin, 34,400. Still just a waddle. Nothing that happened in here was unexpected, right? This is all normal stuff. Now we're just waiting to make sure that the unexpected doesn't happen. And that would be, breaking down and going back into the mid 32s or 31s. We start falling our way back to supports and 31s. And then it's okay, all right, we're going to be here a minute. And then, of course, anything lower than that. But otherwise, absolutely nothing about what we just did was unexpected. That was totally expected. like we said, if you kind of extrapolated the amount of time in here, you'd expect there'd even be more higher highs, and then they pull back down in here again, and that we could go on in here for weeks on end. And so what are we at now? We're almost at 2 weeks, right? The 20? No, we're only at 1 week, right? So I don't know. Maybe there's only like 2 more weeks left of this thing if it went at that same speed. You know, you're not far. I mean, that would be my best guess. You're about right there. So we'll see. We'll see how that thing goes. But otherwise, totally fine action for Bitcoin over here. I think I'm more just like the stock market is the thing that's got me the most interested today. This is boring and going exactly as it should. So nothing exciting there. XRP, we talked about this yesterday. Still right, like back at resistance levels, waiting for it to go. See if I'll be able to put out a video today. I'll be on a Twitter Spaces today, by the way. I believe that's at 2:15 p.m. with the Genfinity crew. I was on it a couple of weeks ago. If you want to catch me over there on a Twitter space today, I'll be on there with those guys on Twitter at 2:15 p.m. Eastern time today. We'll be talking about all things market. Put that in there before I forget. All right. I think that's it, guys, when it comes to like actual action in the markets, right? You've got a rallying stock market on bad economic data, which is convincing the market the Fed is done. And in return, yields are falling. And because yields are falling, hopefully credit conditions loosen. But there's still the overhanging problem that the economy is weakening. So it's a big dance going on everywhere between all of them. But today's rally, what are we seeing? Big fall in yields happening today. And big fall over here in the United States dollar currency index today. And Bitcoin doing just as it should, holding on top of itself, just chilling. So we're okay. There's red obviously here on the market, but there was a whole lot more red before the stock market got going and before that data came out. This market actually bounced back a little bit here. It was obviously pulling back with Bitcoin, but it's looking okay so far now that the markets are getting to go. So we'll see how this market ends up closing itself out today. And it's been a killer after just an absolutely devastating week last week over there in the stock market. A much better week this week. You can see it. These are the last 2 weeks of the stock market for the Dow Jones. This 1 week taken back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candle closes in 1 week. An absolute stunner of a week happening over here in the stock market. So we'll keep our eyes on it. And the thing I'm looking forward to heading into the weekend is just boring. Don't give me anything crazy, Bitcoin. Just be boring. Just slightly drift upwards. And if a couple of altcoins want to shoot off and go crazy, go for it. Obviously we just came out of 7 months. I'm hoping we don't have to go back into 7 months all over again, right? As we've tracked in here. So that's kind of my thoughts right now. And this thing still is on track. So we'll take it. There you go. A little bit of a flip to the green there on the 8-hour candle. Yeah. Sam Bankman-Fried, guilty. Yeah, all 7 counts. He's going to be sentenced there in March. So, okay. I'm ready for us to move on from it. I'm ready for the branding of that having anything to do with crypto and not just being some dude who was just like stealing billions of dollars. Like that isn't crypto. That's a dude. That's a bad guy. So I'm ready for that to be moved on. It doesn't impact me. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't know how to put it of being like, I know not to waste my energy caring about Sam Bankman-Fried, but it has to dominate the headlines. And it's like, it's just doesn't matter. It's all a waste of our time. It's our entertainment and our vindictive nature to want to get back at people for that. But I'm ready to just wash our hands of that and move on. And hoping that there can just be a time in the future where it's a thing of the past and we say, yeah, I remember when I had to go through the FTX collapse. Kind of like people back in the day who say they had to go through Mt. Gox, right? And like, just so you know, for the people who were not here in 2018, we didn't have that kind of event in 2018. The market was a much bigger drawdown in 2018 for all assets, just a devastating drawdown in 2018. But we didn't have any of that. So the narratives and the stories that went along with this one were much, much worse than what was in 2018. The price action still hurt really, really bad in 2018. Really bad. Worse than this. Worse than this. But the narratives in this one really rattled you to your core pretty good. So I'm ready to just move on from that and open up a new chapter and not care about Sam Bankman-Fried anymore. So we tried to cover it as little as possible, but what we were going to do is on the front page of the news every day. All right, there you go. DXY still on the big crumble as assets are rallying today. All right, let's go ahead and check out the news. NASDAQ futures slip after Apple reports earnings, job loss report ahead. So you can see this was here before the economic data came out. Once the unemployment came out, market, boom, we're unemployed. Let's go. Restaurant brands revenue misses estimates, hurt by Burger King's underperformance. Hey, look, I'm just going to say something. All right. And you're free to thumbs down this video if you like. Out of all the fast food options that are out there, and if you're that guy who says, dude, let's do Burger King, we can't be friends. Like, who is going to Burger King? I'm not. Okay. Apple lacks a clear path to growth this holiday season after 4 straight quarters of shrinkage. Yeah, well, Apple has seemed to lack a clear path for a decade. All right. Bloomberg, Sam Bankman-Fried is convicted of fraud. Romano says Burger King is a W. All right. Phil says, okay, bye then. All right, man. I mean, all right. Sam Bankman-Fried is convicted of fraud in stunning FTX crash. SBF's inner circle delivered a conviction. What's next for them? Bankman-Fried's conviction stirs both hope and condemnation for crypto. Quick Sam Bankman-Fried verdict is unusual for a big white-collar case. Yeah, I mean, if you really do imagine it, right, what does yesterday mark? Yesterday is the mark of when the CoinDesk article came out. It took 1 year to go from news article to CZ Binance, pretty much crumbling the market by saying he's selling off all of FTT right when the market hit the 200-day moving average, the day. And then less than a year later, the whole thing blows up. Remember I even took a picture in front of the FTX arena in Miami, Florida last December. Right? That was less than a year ago I was there. It was still FTX arena. You go from that. Do you remember? Okay, we just got done with the World Series this week, right? The World Series last year, every umpire having FTX all over their uniforms. Every one of them. That was 1 year ago right now. And here we are. They go through the whole thing in under a year. And like you imagine Ripple's case, Ripple and the SEC, right? You see that going on almost 3 years, right? Amazing how that happened in 1 year. Pretty crazy. U.S. October jobs report to mark end of blowout payroll gains. Israel latest. No, we're not going to do that. Okay, still more disappointing Apple stuff. Sam Bankman-Fried found guilty on all 7 charges in the FTX fraud trial. I just bought Solana. Yeah. Arthur Hayes after Solana price rebounds 500%. It's pretty amazing, man. You remember like a month ago? Just a month ago. All the people who were like, I'm going to front run the FTX selling all their assets. And I'm like, look, you think you have alpha when you and 30 million people on Twitter are all front running FTX selling off their assets? And then they all get left behind. And they're like, you know what? I'm going to get back in. But what I'm going to buy Solana. Crazy. I just bought Solana, Arthur Hayes says, after Solana price rebounds 500%. So the thing I'm probably proving that I'm not trying to be a jerk with that. What I am trying to point out is the emotions of markets. And it's, I do it from a humor standpoint to try to kind of wake people up. I was like, say, I want to shake you. And it's like, come on, wake up. And that's kind of one of the ways I do it. That when you recognize if you're always operating on emotions, if you're always operating on fear selling at bottoms and then FOMO buying at tops, there's still this process within you that hasn't happened yet where you've had to fight through something, right? maybe one that won't hurt you, or like watching a chart and watching it moon and just sitting there and torturing yourself watching it, FOMOing, but not buying, right? Just let it go, stare at it, but let it go and don't do anything. And after enough time, that thing will turn over and crumble on itself. And you'll be like, thank God, thank goodness I didn't do that. But I always talk about keeping an emotional log and going through that stuff. And there is this big psychology part that you have to break through, especially in all markets, but especially in crypto, because the volatility of emotions swings back and forth so quickly. We go from being completely depressed in this market to being completely irresponsibly euphoric in a matter of no time. It won't be very long. It just won't be very long until all those people who were screaming for 12K or who sold their whole portfolios at 20, 24, 25K, trying to get to 23K, right? Trying to get 4% or something, where those people who thought they were smart but were really acting on insecurity and worry and depression, that they will be sending money to people like Ben.eth, right? And that they will be buying the new fancy burger rainbow coin that comes out on Uniswap, and they have the Ethereum contract address that it just came out 4 hours ago by some anon on Telegram, and they will throw 10 grand into it, right? That behavior happens and flips and flops so fast in this market that you just have to really kind of keep your cool and fight through that stuff. And there's always someone there to take your money, man. All right. Sam Bankman-Fried guilty on all 7 counts in the fraud trial. Sam Bankman-Fried, prosecutors promises handcuffs for all crypto crooks. Solana is down 15% since hitting a 14-month high. Is the rally over? We should say Solana is down 15% since I did the Federal Reserve interest rate hike live stream. Since all the Solana bots were in BCB stream. Oh my gosh, you guys are still talking about fast food in the chat. I'm sorry if I upset anybody about Burger King, but I'm not sorry. All right, Bitcoin, $34,546. Looking good. Getting some juice back, getting some steam back. This is what we were kind of looking for, right? There you go. So let's just keep the boring show going with Bitcoin. What is interesting about right here is that, we spent weeks talking about the divergence between the altcoin market and the divergence between Bitcoin. We still haven't seen a divergence show up. It still hasn't happened yet. Altcoins have been doing just fine during this whole time. But this, I do believe we'll do it. I'll set it all up. I don't have it on here, but we'll set it all up. Let's go look at when it actually started. All right, that's our point in time. All right, we're going to compare assets, and we'll compare Link, ADA, Ethereum, XRP, Doge, Litecoin. So you could see the divergence really started back here, and in here it really kind of set in more. Let's go over here. You could say it has set in for Doge, has not set in for XRP. Ethereum, I wouldn't say it has, because it just hit that peak yesterday. That Chainlink, no. I don't know if you've seen a broader market. How about total 3? Let's hide everything. Yeah, no, you have not seen a divergence happening in here. Here's total 3. Let's add others. Poor colors. There you go. No divergence yet, right? They're both the altcoin market has been doing better in here than Bitcoin has. So I wouldn't say that there has been anything yet of any type of divergence emerging, but it seems like right here it's for like really set in. I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get one. You would think you'd think we'd start to kind of already see it happening in here. I mean, you got some that are weak. Your doges probably your memes, but otherwise it's okay. So all right, get all of that off there so I can see again. Okay. Okay. There you go. Bring the green back. Bring it back. Looking better than it was overnight for sure. Dow Jones, killer week here in the market. And of course, again, it's that absolutely amazing economic data today of unemployment rising higher. NASDAQ crushing it up almost 1%. S&P crushing it up almost 1%. ARK, the leader of the day with Ford and Roblox. And at the bottom of the barrel there, Apple, United Health, and Amazon. Coinbase making a little bit of a return today. Coinbase in pre-market, before getting the unemployment data, was down over 4%. Now up 1%. So a 5% swing over there in Coinbase. Bitcoin just hit 34,600. So we're seeing some life returning back to Bitcoin. We see strength returning back here in the underlying indicators as well. For Bitcoin pulling its way back out after having a bullish divergence down there at these lows down in here. So things are looking okay heading into a Friday here in the markets. Nothing looks too terrifying to me at this point. XRP still waiting for just a real breakout to happen over here as the DXY has pummeled itself over here this morning. As for economic news, the main thing out there is just going to be unemployment rising to 3.9%, with labor participation also dropping down. Those are typically things that are indicative of the starting phases of recession starting to emerge. So keeping an eye on that and not forgetting about that. That's usually not the big bull thesis to see that. Those are usually warning signs of things to come. However, markets love to rally before things end up getting rough. As for Sam Bankman-Fried, he has been found guilty on all 7 charges of fraud. He is going to have his sentencing done then in March. It's believed that he's facing, I believe, like 110 to 115 years in prison. I think John Deaton says he'll do at least 60, which 60, that's going to be pretty much his whole life, right? Otherwise, as for news, that seems to really be it as we head into our Friday. As for me, I'll just be cheering for a nice, boring Bitcoin to kind of float and drift sideways, and keeping an eye on altcoins and see if we can get a couple altcoins to just kind of pop off and rock. Other than that, guys, happy Friday. We survived the week. The week was decent. Your portfolio should have risen some this week. I know mine did. You should have saw some type of growth over there in the portfolio this week. Even with that, as we did show over there, we showed total 3 and others overlapped on there. And I know a lot of people hold XRP. Well, XRP also had growth this week too. So you probably saw something going on in there in your portfolio this week. At least I know I did. So otherwise, waiting for getting through this kind of moment here to see if we can get past this continuation of 2016 and break away from this thing. This is not the end of the world thing to have, right? Like to continue going like that. But I think we'd all find a whole lot more excitement in the market if we are actually rocking for a bigger move to happen in here. So that's what we'll be keeping our eyes on throughout the weekend to make sure things can kind of stay steady and hold themselves together. Otherwise, that's going to be it for this week. It's been a big week. I'm going to celebrate today. You would think I would have already done it. But I will be going to see the Eras Tour in theaters today. I've not seen that. I'll be taking my wife and my daughter. Don't want to look like a weirdo going by myself, you know what I mean? Okay. All right. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend too. I'm going to hop in there. I'm going to read the chat with you guys for a little while, and then we'll get on our way and enjoy our weekends. Again, catch me over there on Twitter today. I'll be on a Twitter Spaces with the Genfinity guys, King Solomon crew, and Darren Moore, Fame 21 Moore. I'll be doing that over there on Twitter today for about 45 minutes there at 2:15 Eastern time. Hans Loaded, man, I saw your brother there during the opening. So this week we tried something different in regards to setting stuff up, setting the stream up about 20 minutes before going live. You guys seem to like that, so I'll try to do that again next week and to see if it's feasible for me to do it. It seemed to be okay to be able to do it that way. And I'll set that thing up ahead of time so you guys can kind of hang out in there. And Hans, I saw you drop that. You gifted somebody a membership prior to the stream starting. Thank you. And Dokansky, man, I saw that too. You said hit the like and have a great weekend with the super chat. And that was before the stream even started. Thank you very much. Michael J. Love, that was right before the stream started too. He gifted a BCB membership along with Crypto Bambino. Thank you guys very much. And again, guys, always thank those guys if they hook you up. Philip Mann gifted a BCB membership. Thank you very much. And then a guy with 3 first names says, it's been a minute since I commented. It has been. And you know what's funny? I think about you even when I'm not streaming. I try to think of names of guys that would be like 3 first names. Right? You give me just like the guy from The Office, right? Michael Scott, right? You can make Michael John Scott. I don't know why. Weird thing to use my brain energy on. All right, been a minute since I commented. I can't wait to see my portfolio explode. Hit that like button. Thank you very much. A guy with 3 first names. One rough weekend. What's up, brother? He says, happy Friday, all. What an interesting morning this is going to be. Let's go. Yeah, weird morning for sure. How's stocks doing? DXY now 105.33. How's gold doing? Gold has been all over the place, and now I got all this stuff on here. There you go. So this will be an interesting week for gold too. This would be the first week that gold stalled in the last 3. So the last 3 weeks for gold have just been killer, and then there's your stall out. Brandon Grinstead, member for 3 months. Thank you very much. He says, hey, BCB, thanks for all you do. I'm excited to make money as you are. Do you think these cycles are the last hurrah of big gains in crypto, like 20 to 50x? I don't know if there'll be 20 to 50x. Like we did the numbers for 2021. It was 12x was your average. If you would have like reasonably DCA'd, like right, so when I say like 12x, it's like reasonable DCA. Bitcoin, if you like DCA'd, this is the thing you have to think about. If you DCA'd at this green box, do you think you had a pretty good DCA? Yeah. Right? I was here the whole time. Yeah, that's a fair DCA, right? I remember this. We spent like 7 months here. Then we dropped down here. We only had 5 months, 6 months down here. And then that's where you're going to kind of got to cut it in half. And then, if you're DCAing any of these time periods at all throughout here, I mean, ending up with the DCA right there, pretty reasonable, right? If you perfectly sold right there, which you guys do know, my selling of Bitcoin was all done in here. It was done from 45 to 58. So this is where I did all my selling, right? Would you consider that pretty good? That you got a pretty good DCA and you got out in a pretty good location, averaging right there at about 53. I'd say that's pretty good. I'd say it's damn good. What is that? That's only 7.75x. Right? that's the, so people wanting 20 to 50x, you have to, you have to time the bottom. And so what we did is what I did in one of my like experiments in here, with like a case study thing. As you know, I just put this case study out here for altcoins. I'll get back to that in a minute on the Substack. But like in here, research, no, it's not that one, right? Is it that one? Yeah. Research data that improved odds. I think I did it here and I did it in here, reviewing alt seasons and lessons learned from 2017 and 2021. These two and this research data that improved odds. Going through and saying, hey, let's say you just YOLO'd the market right there. That's your DCA. Do you think that's a pretty good DCA on the whole thing? That ends up being it. Like no matter where you are in the market, like right there. like was that bad? No, right? Like picking that point in time, right? This like December of 2019, this is where you DCA'd, and you bought all the stuff that's like in the top 20, right? So if you like DCA'd the market, and this is where you bought, right? This is the only time you bought the market, and you bought it right here for the whole market, and you bought the top 10, right? You bought Bitcoin, you bought Ethereum, you bought Binance Coin, you bought XRP, you bought everything in the top 10, Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Cash, EOS, all of them, top 10 right here. And again, I get it. We all have 2020 hindsight, and we look back on that and say, that was dumb to buy those. Okay. Here's your top 10. Something in here is your Bitcoin Cash. Something in here is your Bitcoin SV. Something in here is your garbage, right? Something in here is. So, this is your top 10 right now, right? So you DCA the top 10 right here. What is your average return by the time you get right here? And that average return on the top 10 from here to here is a 12x. So your question is, do you think cycles would be the last big gains, like 20 to 50x? You didn't get that last cycle. From here to here, the top 10, your average was 12x. The top ranks number 11 through 20, here to here, average is 13x. So, picking and choosing where you are, where your entries are at on whatever it is, when your exits are at on whatever it is. And, unlike the past where like you can't even see it, like this is how big it was, right? Here's 2015. Look at that. We can visibly fit the entire 2021 on the screen here. You can't do that with 2017, right? That's your 2017 monster. We can fit all of 2021 on here. So will we get 20 to 50 X's on this market? Do you think Bitcoin's going to do more than 2X? Because I don't. I just don't. I don't think, I'd be very, very surprised for a new all-time high Bitcoin. Even if you did get a new all-time high Bitcoin, which I don't think you will. Where are you going? 100, 150? Like you're going to 2x the previous all-time high? Because I don't see how you're going. I mean, are you going to go to 500,000? I don't think so, man. So I just, you have to for your expectation. And that's why I feel real bad for the people who think they're going to get $1,000 per XRP, $100 per XRP. The Fed's going to buy back their XRP. Unfortunately, it's likely a lot of the people who just don't have a lot of money. They maybe have 200 or 300 XRP, 1,000 XRP or something like that. And that's okay because that's just what they can, afford. But the dream, right? The dream of extreme wealth gets sold to them with these crazy numbers. Like, ooh, I do have enough. And, the majority of people who watch, are going to fall into that category. Majority of people are not going to have 50,000 XRP, 100, 200, 300,000 XRP. They're going to have somewhere, and we did this a long time ago, years ago. I don't know what the average is, but it was 3,000 to 4,000, 5,000 XRP seemed to be about the normal amount that a normal person has. And so you got to give them that, if they have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 XRP, you got to give them that $100 per XRP to get a real number, or $200, $300, $500 per XRP to get that, life-changing wealth that they're dreaming of. But let's see, what did we do in this one? So in this one right here, right? So your question is like your 20 to 50x gains. So your question is, hey, BCB, thanks for what you're doing. I'm excited to make money as you are. Do you think these cycles are the last hurrah of big gains in crypto, like 20 to 50x? So when you go through the developer data and you compare it to the top 20 in here, like if we pretended, so in this example, we do the pretending of we're buying right here. Okay. We're buying right before the market rips. We just got 2 developer reports. We got the report from Electric Capital that's showing us developer growth and decline. And we've got information from Sentiment, and it's telling us who is the most developed coins in crypto from this point in time right here in December of 2020. And we run a simulation and we say, okay, what would be better? Buying the top 20 of crypto, right? Going through here and doing our shopping like most people do, right? They come in, they see what are the top coins, and they say, oh yeah, I'm definitely getting me some Bitcoin. Yeah, Ethereum, gotta get some of that. Ooh, that XRP, that Fed's gonna buy back that XRP, gotta get that one. Solana, ooh, everybody's talking about Solana. Cardano, Doge, oh yeah, Elon Musk, let's go. Tron, Chainlink, people are talking about Chainlink a lot. And they kind of go through their list like this right here from the top, the tops, right? But what if we had done it based on the top 20 or based on the top 20 by dev activity? And, if your DCA, right, way down here, your DCA on the top 20, average return was less than 8x from not only to here, but to literally here. This was 8x here to here for the top 20. For dev activity, it was like 20x. Here to here was the average, right? And so you the numbers that you say, like 50x, 20 to 50x, in the top 20, in the top 20 assets, you only had 2 that even crossed that 20x level. 2. You had 0 in the top 20 by market cap that got into that 50x, 0. And if you go by dev activity, you did actually have 2 of them that did exceed that 50x in the dev activity category, which we go through all that in here. So, will it be the last hurrah? I've given my opinions on that. I don't think I need to go too further into that. I wanted to kind of address your expectations of 20 to 50x to say, you're expecting more than what we even got last cycle. But you guys know it. I mean, the stock market, right? If the stock market goes, falls from here, right? Or if the stock market hits a 4.236 extension and falls from here, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a last time for a while, unfortunately. But if I'm proven wrong with the stock market and it goes rampaging to the upside, then LFG, let's go, dude. So, it's the stock market. I don't think I have to convince it anyway. If the stock market goes tumbling down, we have never had a crypto market that wasn't like that. If this happens, what does the crypto market look like when this was where it became existing? These are all the bull runs. They're all happening in unison with the stock market. What happens in that event? We don't know the answer. And, whether or not you think that, my thoughts are this, or you think a phoenix is rising from the ashes, the fact that I'm pointing it out is just should trigger a thought experiment for everybody, right? Do I know that will happen for certainty? Of course not, because we've never had it. But we have had dips in the stock market, and every one of these dips was a bear market for Bitcoin. Every one of them. What happens when the whole trend changes in the United States stock market? That's the thing we all have to, figure out. Michael J. Love Come on, hit the freaking like button. It is El Frio. He didn't say that. That was me. It's free. Thank you, Michael J. Love. The Jake Fu Show says, Brunel's DSB. Oh, Brunel's DS BCB. I'm seeing lots of goons on Twitter saying bull run started. Crypto gonna launch. Scares me. Do you think the market sentiment is okay right now? Yeah. I don't see anything euphoric about the market right now. Remember, I went through my emotional log. I even pulled that up today. We talked a lot about the emotional log. Of where I had tracked all of my emotions through all of this, right? And the equivalent prices of where we've been have been just like this in crypto and in Bitcoin for the last several months. And talking about just like, even in here, still convinced we're going to fall back down. Still convinced we're going to fall back down. Notice the behavior in here. Does this look familiar? I mean, this is like just what we went through, right? Here's big liquidation, pauses, up, and then, it gets through, right? But it was through here that, and I'll read it. What is this date right here? We are in May. Read it again, because we actually read this before we got the breakout. May 11th. Bitcoin just broke above $7,000. I'm starting to get very excited, which is dangerous. Hey, let's read before that, though. Let's read May 2nd. Where are we May 2nd? We're here. Wow, it's been a while since I've updated this. It's been about 3 weeks. Not much has happened, right? We're right here. Bitcoin is sitting at about $5,400, kind of just waiting for the next move. I expect a nasty fall down, but it's taking a while to do it. There's a bunch of Bitfinex drama regarding Tether, but that's kind of normal at this point if you've been in the space a few years. There's always been drama about Tether. You wonder why, I'm just going to pause here for a second. You wonder why I always kind of laugh at the Tether stuff whenever it's happening, you guys, because you can even see here I am in 2019 saying, this is 4.5 years ago, May of 2019. I'm sitting there saying, if you've been here a few years, there's always been Tether drama, because it always is. All right, back to what I said. But that's kind of normal at this point if you've been in this space for a few years. There's always been drama about Tether. So I don't really know what to think of it. I'm certain that when this fall does happen, they will use Tether drama as a catalyst for the fall, if the fall happens. But yeah, Tether and the fall will go hand in hand. Either way, I'm just sitting tight. I'm looking to make more entries on that fall if we get it. And I buy more Bitcoin back in that 3,100 to 3,500 range. I didn't miss this. I have the emotional log and I've read the whole thing to you guys, and I've done the whole thing in a newsletter in here. I was buying all throughout here, and I was saying very nasty things about myself. When I use all the profanity in here that you could possibly imagine. And but either way, as you could see in here, what was I convinced of? I was convinced there was still going to be another fall. I wasn't tricked by this rally, which, as you know, everybody wasn't tricked by this rally just now, right? They were ready for it to fall over and head down lower. But that's what was going on here. And then I was showing how, look, this is the level we're at. If we get through here, this is where that horribleness fades. So let's go to May 11th. We're way up here already. May 11th, Bitcoin just broke above $7,000, and I'm starting to get very excited, which is dangerous. But I have to update this because it does not feel like someone is standing on my chest any longer. It feels exciting. It feels thrilling. It feels hopeful. And hope is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous thing in the world of markets. But I need to update this now because I'm getting excited, and that needs to be documented. It was so dang gloomy buying during the 3000s. My next update will hopefully be a continuation of this. So we go from one update there on May 2nd saying I'm totally believing that we're going to fall back down to the lows, to the next one saying I'm very excited. And when we go through my emotional log, you see just a man of complete anger, fear, depression, talking down to himself, but still buying the market, but thinking he's an idiot the whole time while he's doing it down in here. Then you see a rally happen, and you see this man, which is me, not convinced that we're going to be able to go any higher than this. That this is, I'm feeling nothing. I'm numb to the market. I don't feel anything. Yeah, we're here, but okay, that's cool. I still think we're going to fall back down lower. And if we do, I'll buy more. And that's okay. That's life. And then we break out, and that's where the excitement happens. So this was clearly, unquestionably, and then you go through this emotional log and you watch this thing go on, and he's just getting more euphoric and euphoric and euphoric and euphoric and euphoric as this thing is going up in here. You know, I mean, you can see June 26th, one Bitcoin is worth 13,600. I'm expecting a reversal at 14,800. You can see in here, I'm even talking about expecting to go back to 4,100 because you guys know 702 retracements is just things I'm always watching for. And it's what I was watching for in here. But when it comes to an emotional standpoint, unquestionably, euphoria, euphoria, the doom is gone, the doom is gone. This was still convinced that we were not out of it. This was, the weight is off my chest. That dark, doomy feeling is off my chest now. So anybody keeping an emotional log, we may have just crossed this path of where your log has probably been pretty bad for a long time, and crossing into a new era. So you're saying, hey, I'm seeing people saying that a bull run has started. It scares me. Do you think the market sentiment is okay right now? It's okay for the market to be confident and to be optimistic, you know, moving up. We've been climbing a wall of worry this entire time, right? It's been a wall of worry the whole move up. Finally, people are, it's normal. We're going to go down. 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 Okay, I capitulate. We're going to keep going up. It's okay. It's okay. But then it becomes euphoria. Then we get past that point of being in wall of worry. We get to excitement, right? Then capitulating on the idea that we're in the bear, because I'm pretty sure there's something in here. I type in here there it is, May 13th. Here it is, May 13th. Okay, you ready? Bitcoin just crossed $8,000. This is amazing. I'm expecting a pullback at $9,800 to around $6,000. But it appears the bear market is over. Strong statement. That was a strong statement to make in that emotional log right there, to say that I think the bear market is officially over. And that comes right here, May 13th, after breaking through this range happening in here. So I don't think it's unusual for people to be that way. But the thing we don't have yet is euphoria, right? And so you have sheer panic and depression, and everybody convinced we're going lower, and everybody sells the bottom expecting that we're going lower. And then you have sheer euphoria and insanity, everybody buying the top, convinced that we're going higher. So that's where, you know, are we at that phase yet? No. You know, I think what you have is you have a lot of people who just got wrong-footed. And so they're not sure what to think just yet. So they got wrong-footed here. They are pretty beat up, right? The 12, I'm going to be nice. The 12Kers are pretty beat up. They've been looking for 12K since back here. So then they got convinced they were going to get it. Then, you know, a lot of people probably said, oh, maybe the 12Kers are right. They sold into the FTX collapse. And then the market got carried away and ran away with them. And so we've done so much washing machining in here. And then so many narratives at the top of each one, especially this one where you have Bitcoin's going to $1 million in 90 days. Just silliness. You know, then they euphorically get back in, and then they get out because the SEC sues Binance and Coinbase. Then the market just rips, and they euphorically get back in. And then the market liquidates, and every influencer is telling them we're going to break down, right? So then they sell, and then the market gets away. It's been they've been beat up and chewed up and spit out. And, one of the accounts over there on Twitter that's been perpetuating that 12K stuff, that 10 to 12K stuff that they regurgitate and anon on Twitter, he capitulated on his 10 to 12K stuff here now. So now the one that they thought they were following and all the other influencers were following to copy this one guy, anon on Twitter, he's capitulated on his idea. Now they don't know what to do. And so they don't even know why they believed in 10 to 12K in the first place. And they're in a rough spot. So like, while you see bullishness there, there's that big group. I think they're ready to buy, but they need to be in the green too, because they're not. Once they're in the green, then we see the real euphoria happen. And then once, like, the thing we really look for is the irresponsibility, the things where the signals that have really marked changes in this market a couple of times now. And that is the meme coin stuff. When the meme coin stuff gets crazy, that's it. New coins, new contracts, new addresses, right? Paying attention to that. Are meme coins pumping like left and right? Not just one, right? Not just SHIB or not just Doge or Pepe or something like that. Do we have a broad range meme coin pump? Do we have new contracts coming out left and right? And are people bragging? That's an important thing to pay attention to when braggarts arrive everywhere, all over Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter account, get a Twitter account or an x.com account, because you can watch sentiment there. And when people are really bragging about how good they are, I'm making so much, I just did this. I'm making so much on this coin. Buy this, it's not too late, right? That's usually signs that money is freely flowing too much. Even people who have no literal idea what they are doing in markets are getting lucky because everybody is so degenerate at the time. And that degeneracy tends to mark the tops. Are we in degeneracy right now? No way. Not even close. So it's good to see optimism return. I just don't think we're anywhere close to extremities. But I went into this answering this question for a long time, but this was that level, right? This is the level we're just talking about here in 2019 of breaking out and getting through, right? This is where we're just getting through. So this was that moment where it didn't feel like someone was standing on my chest anymore. I got more optimistic, and in a couple of days was willing to say I believe the bear market was over. And so to say, people say they're thinking we're in a bull market, that's normal. People always think any move up is a bull market. And I got asked that the other day, when will we say it's a bull market? It's like, well, you can define it however you want. Price is going up. Does that mean it's a bull market? Technically, no, it doesn't mean it's a bull market. Price is bullish. Price is going upwards. But what's the defining in crypto? How do you define it's a bull market? We could be retracing, but retracing in crypto, that could be hundreds of percents. It could be thousands of percents. Like an example of, like, what about this? Hold on. We're going to get it. SIA coin. Let's go back to SIA coin and is this a bull market for SIA coin? Or is this a retracement, right? Or is this a much longer bear market retrace? How do you define what that actually is? Because this doesn't set a new high and it doesn't get through retracements and then it pulls all the way back down. But do you know what percentage that retracement is? 8,000%. So is it a bull market or is it a retracement, right? So how do we define it as a bear, right? Or how do we define this is a bull market? And so I don't really like having that label. I like being like, look, I've been thinking price is going to go up the whole time. I think we got to head back to retracement levels. Do we define that as being a bull market? Do we define that as a bullish retrace within a broader bear? I don't know, right? Like, I don't really like the term, but this is an example of SIA coin was a killer in 2021 and went under the radar, which most people didn't notice. Like, even if you didn't nip the bottom of it, still over 4,000% if you accumulated during that time we talked about, December of 2019, a 4,000% gainer. But was that a bull market or was that just a bear market retrace? But the percentages were monstrous. So that's why I don't really like the specific, like, we have to put that term on it. Like, you know, how do we define it as a bull market? Well, if it's going to right here, does that mean we're in a bull market to right here? Or does that mean we're in a retracement market? So, all right, I got to move on. What am I doing? All right. The Jake Fu Show. There you go, bro. Black Cat. Happy Black Cat Friday. What are your thoughts on ISO 20022? I have no thoughts on it, and I don't think it means anything. Either I'm an ignoramus or everybody who has said it has ever had anything to do with anything is wrong. And Kramer's still saying the opposite of what to do, like this video, buy some merch for Christmas. Okay, he says, and his Kramer is still saying the opposite of what to do. Yeah, well, Kramer, look, it's my personal opinion from watching the historical behavior of Kramer and his accuracy is that he seems to be a person who leads the sheep to the slaughterhouse. And that seems to be his job. And somebody would not be able to maintain a job like that, where their job is literally to go on TV and tell people, this is what you should do. Buy, buy, buy. He has hits the buy button. Buy, buy, buy. And hits the button. Sell, sell. And to be so wrong at all times, I can't come up with any other logical explanation except that his job is to steer you wrong. And that's what he's paid to do. That's it. So yeah, is he wrong? Sure. And then he says, like this video and buy some merch for Christmas. There you go. Those links are in the description of the video. Hoang Win. Shout out to Crypto Pigeon for the 50x leverage calls. Hit the like button. Oh no. Crypto Pigeon, I hope you're doing okay out there, bud. Thank you very much. Hit the like button. We're about at 1K. We're almost at 1,000 likes. Oscar Hernandez says, Mick Backer is where it's at. Hit the like. Look at all these just donations just to like. Say like. Thanks, guys. Solana and Link, is it time to flip to XRP? Thanks, BCB. I'm not going to give you trade calls, brother. You got a good return on them, right? It's up to you when you want to make that call. LJ, bought top dev report coins today. It has strong confluence with strongest below top 20 market cap so far. Time will tell. Bought top dev report coins today. All right, well, good luck. Rock on, LJ. Comedy says, hey, BCB, I'm going backpacking to South America for the whole of December. Should I bring my cold wallet with me? That's crazy. Right? I mean, the only thing that matters in regards to the cold wallet, right, the storage wallet, is the keys, right? The seed phrases and stuff. You know. It depends on where you are, like how you hide your stuff, man. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do with that. Like, that's crazy. I'm going backpacking. I'm going to bring my crypto with me while I backpack through the woods. Just, you know. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a safe place to store your stuff, you need to figure that out. You know what I mean? That's just you need a better place to hide your stuff if you don't already. I don't even keep my stuff at home. Viper Man Matt, smash the thumbs up and the frog. Thank you very much. First time. Is that your first time? Trying to figure out why it says 1 sometimes, and sometimes it'll say like 3. Okay. All right. So here's where we're at, guys. We'll keep an eye on the markets today. The stock market is ripping to the upside this morning. It's kind of cooled off a little bit now that the market has opened, but it's still definitely up. 0.75% for the S&P, 0.64% for the NASDAQ, and 0.47% for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, with ARK, Ford, and Roblox leading the way over here, and Apple, United Health, and Amazon being the losers this morning, coming off of new economic data indicating that unemployment is rising and labor participation is dropping. Those are historically some of the last shoes to drop when it comes to a recession. So the market is rallying on bad news. Bad news being, of course, that the Fed just came out and were very indecisive on what to do with Fed rates anymore, or the federal funds rate, their third pause in their last 4 meetings, non-committal on what they wanted to do, didn't seem like they needed to raise rates anymore. Now they're getting economic data of weakness, pretty much implying they're done. So as now we have long duration yields are falling, market is pretty much just like, hey, the Fed is absolutely done. But the reality of it all is what happens when Fed is cutting. Why are they cutting? They're cutting because problems are now showing up in markets. And well, this is usually one of the last shoes to drop is the unemployment data. So that's a concern out there. We did see the DXY fall today. The DXY crushed through 106. Thank gosh, being on the south side of that 106, that's a thing that we want to see just because of historically being above 106 has been our problem. We saw markets got real dicey here, even being above 106 just during this time period right in here. I love the guy who came in on during the Federal Reserve FOMC meeting on Wednesday when it was popping all over the place. I told you we're going to 115 for the DXY. Oh, poorly timed. So this DXY has been a rough one, but there you go. We got back down through another fib level and got through 106 now. So gold, washing, machining all over the place this morning too. Look at this volatility here in gold. It is indecisive as well. But a big day. But Bitcoin back 34,000, back above 34,700. So way more green over here in the crypto market now than we had prior to the market opening. I think we only had like 2 assets that were in the green, and they just barely were prior to the market actually opening. And now we've got quite a few more. So throughout the weekend, the thing I'm really just going to be looking for over here is just kind of a boring Bitcoin price just scooting along. That would be the most optimistic thing, I think. That's what I'm hoping for. And hopefully we see a couple altcoins take some rips throughout the weekend to keep the entertainment going in here and keep the show moving on. Otherwise, things look okay here in crypto. Stock market obviously having a killer day today and a killer week. This past week has just crushed it over there in the stock market. And now Bitcoin's sitting there at almost 34,800. So hopefully it is this next week that we start seeing some more action emerge. Otherwise, things look good. And we went through like the emotional log. There's not euphoria. I think we're just not used to seeing bullishness right now. So you're like, hey, everybody's so bullish. No. It's just there's some bullishness. We just came out of Doomtown, Goblin Town, where all the influencers were telling you we're going lower. So this is now not what we're doing, right? So now there's actual real bullishness and people are optimistic, and that's okay. Optimism is a great thing. It's euphoria and degeneracy. That's usually the bad thing. And we don't have that yet. So rock on. Throughout the weekend, if you guys want to finally pull the trigger and head over to Substack and check out my Substack write-up. It includes a 30-minute audio recording, blockchainbacker.substack.com, where we're decoding altcoin performance, a deep dive into developer data, really comparing the performance of altcoins when it comes to just kind of picking and choosing them based off their market caps and the order that they've been placed in their rankings. As if these rankings actually mean anything in here, just because they're ranked here on CoinMarketCap or they're ranked on all your different websites based by their market caps. Does this mean here's your winner? Or is it actually something else that has shown what is the better performers? And we go through a lot of development data in there and do some case studies comparing assets, and then take a look at who are the current ones are right now with the highest development activity. That's available over there on blockchainbacker.substack.com. There's a link in the description of this YouTube live stream and all of my YouTube videos and live streams. I just posted it there in the chat. And of course, if you want to get some educational content from me, you could check out bcbacker.com. It's over 40 videos, over 11 hours of videos get your whole weekend right. And we talk even more about that development data stuff in here, but historical behavior of the crypto market and a lot of emotional management and teaching you how to set up your own charts, your own indicators, and lots and lots of good stuff. If you like the way my YouTube videos are, my live streams are, I try to keep it more personal. This is not a PowerPoint presentation course. This is very much just like the YouTube channel. But there you go. Over 40 videos, downloadable spreadsheets, $39 one time, no renewals, no subscription fees here on bcbacker.com. Otherwise, cheers to a good week again in crypto. Bitcoin relatively tame, but we looked over there at the altcoin market, total 2, total 3. We looked at XRP. All of them, there's no divergence that has emerged yet. They have still continued to trend up with Bitcoin into this period. So hopefully we can continue that through the weekend. Otherwise, I'm going to catch you guys on Monday. Or you can catch me over there on Twitter today on x.com. We need new branding. This x.com thing's not working. I'll be at 2:15 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be on a Twitter Spaces with the Genfinity guys. Viper Man, smash the likes. Brandon Hammond, new member, welcome brother. Andy Philpott gifted a BCB membership. Viper Man Matt gifted our new member, welcome. And Jay member, new welcome. Look at that, a bunch of new members, guys. Thank you very much. Congrats on making it through another week, guys. A good week in crypto, good week in markets. Overall, everything went pretty well this week. We're still just waiting for the big event to emerge. So hopefully next week or the week after, I don't know. I hate predicting time. I've given you my best guesstimate, right? A couple of weeks in here seems reasonable to me. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We're at 1 hour and 21 minutes. These ran longer all week this week. But that's just what it is when we have a lot to talk about and there's been a lot going on. We've been stuck down here for months. It was just garbage town, garbage city down in here. Things have finally turned up and been a little bit more exciting. There's been more to talk about. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. Check out the Substack. Check out BC Backer. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. That's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream. Please give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.